Hello world, welcome to TechBlog, and you are viewing the Linux tutorial series Beginner to Advance, Basic to In-Depth Concepts. And today we are going to learn about command line interface, Linux basic commands. Today's agenda is, what is a terminal? Requisite commands, like ls, pwd, echo, cd, womi etc. Creating directory, creating files, directory and file operations like copy, move, delete, rename etc. And finally we are going to work with permissions. So, let's go. What is terminal and about its history? Well, the Linux command line is a text interface to your computer. Often referred to as the shell, terminal, console, prompt or various other names. For beginners it can be confusing to use. But don't worry, practice makes things easy. So, whatever you want to call it you can. Eventually all are the same. Let's talk about its history. During the formative years of the computer industry, one of the early operating systems was called UNIX. It was designed to run as a multi-user system on mainframe computers, with users connecting to it remotely via individual terminals. These terminals were pretty basic by modern standards, just a keyboard and screen, with no power to run programs locally. Instead, they would just send keystrokes to the server and display any data they received on the screen. There was no mouse, no fancy graphics, not even any choice of color. Everything was sent as text, and received as text. Obviously, therefore, any programs that ran on the mainframe had to produce text as an output and accept text as an input. You can do almost anything in a terminal, which you would also do from a GUI interface. Opening a terminal. In every Linux distribution, terminal is one of the essential applications. It could be opened from the desktop launcher or from the accessory menu or from a search application just typing terminal or shell. Login remote system using SSH. Well, as a Linux engineer you have to spend lots of time with your remote server. So you could open a remote SSH session from your local terminal. As follows. SSH, then your username at host IP, now provide password and then boom. You are in. pwd command. pwd command prints the current working directory path, starting from the root. Use the pwd command to find your way in the Linux file system structure maze or to pass the working directory in a bash script. As a beginner, do you think about what will be used of the pwd command? And the question is valid. Actually, that is a piece of information that could be required at any time. For example, you are writing a bash script for some automation task and there your program needs to know the present working path at that time. You need this ls command. Inside a folder, you can list all the files that the folder contains using the ls command. If you use l flag, then it will display in a long listing format, which started with either d or dot. D means directory or folder and dot means files. After that comes the owner's permission, read, write and execute, then comes group permission and finally others permission. Then size of file, owner name, creation date and finally the name of file or directory. cd and cd double dot command. Once you have a folder, you can move into it using the cd command. cd means change directory. You invoke it specifying a folder to move into. You can specify a folder name or an entire path. Similarly, to return back to your parent folder you need to use the dot indicator. Their single dot means the current folder and the double dot means the parent's folder. mkdir command. mkdir command in Linux allows the user to create directories. This command can create multiple directories at once as well as set the permissions for the directories. It is important to note that the user executing this command must have enough permissions to create a directory in the parent directory, or she may receive a permission denied error. It's very simple to make a directory, just follow the command mkdir and then your directory name. Now cross-check with ls command. Yep, here is. You could send multiple directory names as mkdir parameters like this. Boom, it's done. Cal command. If a user wants a quick view of the calendar in the Linux terminal, cal is the command for you. By default, the cal command shows the current month calendar as output as follows. Date command. Date command is used to display the system date and time. Date command is also used to set the date and time of the system. By default, the date command displays the date in the time zone on which UNIX, Linux operating system is configured. You must be the super user or root user to change the date and time. Cat command. Cat or concatenate command is very frequently used in Linux. It reads data from the file and gives its content as output. It helps us to create, view, and concatenate files. So let us see some frequently used cat commands. Let's create a file using cat command. Just type cat arrow and file name. Now type something in the file and press Ctrl+D to end and save. You could display the content using cat. Simply type cat and then file name. Echo command. Echo command in Linux is used to display lines of text or string that are passed as an argument. This is a built-in command that is mostly used in shell scripts and batch files to output status text to the screen or a file. I am going to echo some strings and store them in a file. Command should look like as follows: echo then string and redirect sign and file name. Similarly, going to create some more files as follows. Here you can see all 3 files are created. And now I want to show you how concatenate works. Use cat command and pass this file's name as arguments. Similarly, you could store the output of any command in a file. For example, I want to store my ls command output in a file. So, just type ls then redirect sign and file name. Here my output text file stores the result of the ls command. Cp command. Cp stands for copy. This command is used to copy files or groups of files or directories. It creates an exact image of a file on a disk with a different file name. Cp command requires at least 2 file names in its arguments. Mv command. Mv stands for move. Mv is used to move one or more files or directories from one place to another in a file system like Unix. It has 2 distinct functions. It renames a file or folder. And it moves a group of files to a different directory. I am going to move my text1 file to another directory named dir2, so in order to do that I have to type mv my file name and directory location. Here you can see my file has been moved to directory 2. Rm command. Rm stands for remove here. Rm command is used to remove objects such as files, directories, symbolic links and so on from the file system like Unix. By default, it does not remove directories. To do that you have to use rflag. This command normally works silently and you should be very careful while running rm command because once you delete the files then you are not able to recover the contents of files and directories. So, here you can see I have some files and directories and I want to remove some of them. To do so, use rm command followed by file name. And here is my file is deleted. Similarly, to delete a directory you need to use rflag, so I have dir1 and I want to remove it. Just type rm-rf, here f stands for forcefully and then my directory name. Yup, it's deleted. Permissions in Linux. Linux is a multi-user operating system, so it has security to prevent people from accessing each other's confidential files. I am going to show a short glimpse of permission, and how it works. It requires a whole video to cover all things, as this is for beginner level. I am going to show basics of them. The command you use to change the security permissions on files is called chmod, which stands for change mode, because the 9 security characters are collectively called the security mode of the file. Though in the argument you can change different levels of permission like user group and others using letters U, G and O, and if you do not pass any of them it will change all. So, from here I want to remove all permission of dir2, to do so, type chmod -rwx and then directory name. Now see here all permission was removed. Now if I want to add read permission to dir2 then type chmod +r and then directory name. Here you can see read permission added. Similarly, you can do the same for files. For example, I want to add execute permission to my file. So, just type chmod +x and then file name. Change ownership. Different users in the operating system have ownership and permission to ensure that the files are secure and put restrictions on who can modify the contents of the files. So, for example, I want to change ownership of a file to root. In order to do that, type chown root and then file name. You must use sudo before the command. Here you can see the ownership has been changed. So, guys, we cover some basic commands of Unix or Linux system. As a beginner, hope this video is helpful to you. Do like and share this video, and hit on the subs button to get the latest update. TechBlog is sign out for now. See you again. Thank you.